The following episode is dedicated to the memory of bushwhacker Butch Miller, who passed away this week. An adventure beyond time, the experiment that never should have happened 41 years ago is still going on. This is the Cult Faction Podcast, episode 92, The Philadelphia Experiment!
Superman.
What happened to you there?
I might have to speed up because
The Philadelphia Experiment!
It's like, what is it?
So it's just the Muppet Show.
It's the League of Gentlemen. Anyone got any orange juice?
Waka waka waka!
This is the Cult Faction Podcast, episode 92, the Philadelphia Experiment, 1984 version. And I am Brett Summers, your host for this evening. And joining me are...
Hello and welcome. Where was that? You always do. Hello and welcome. Like David Essex, but...
Actually, to be fair, you sound more like David Essex when you do it.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Paul Hawkins, hi.
I was really excited I sounded like David Essex.
So you completely put me off with your...
Well, you were shouting Muppet things during the whole period. I was thinking what to say.
Cold open.
And the other Muppet...
Damien Hicks. I know my place.
Hey.
Behind the bar.
Yeah.
Place to be.
Indeedy.
Right, we are here for another week of fun and frolics in Cult Faction HQ.
Have you listened to this podcast?
Shut up, stop putting me off. We'll
That's what she
start
said.
with our reflection on our weeks. What's been happening? What's been going down in our ends, as the kids say? Oh,
Do they?
What's
Do
been
they
happening in your...
say that?
Yeah, what's been happening in your ends? Down your ends?
I've had positive stuff coming out my end. What kind
No,
of a saying is that?
Your ends is where you live, where you're at.
Oh, really?
So what's happening at your ends is like what's going on where you are.
What if you live
you've
in
been
the
doing.
middle?
You
What
don't.
if your house is in the middle of the street?
But it's still your ends.
Oh, it makes no sense to me, the kids nowadays. So work. We went away for the weekends. Friend's birthday, so we went to Somerset.
Somerset.
Yeah.
Rawr.
I did have cider, but not the local stuff.
Did you get a brand new combine harvester?
No, they're blooming expensive.
Did you buy-
Serious money.
Did you buy two?
Yeah, that's why one farmer buys one and then he hires it out.
Yeah.
It's much better.
Yeah.
And apparently they brag about it through song.
Yeah, so weekend, just having cider, wine, and snacks. Yeah, good. And then drive home Sunday. Quiet evening Sunday after the drive. That was it. Then back to work. But short week this week.
Is it?
Yeah,
Why?
Why is it a short week?
because we've got the bank holiday. 2 bank holidays, Friday and Monday.
Cool.
Earth calling Damien. How do you not know this? I mean, I know he doesn't because he's always on holiday. He's a teacher, but you're part of the rest of the working world, like me.
Yeah, but Damien lives in a hut.
Yeah. I spend all my time in here. I'm just oblivious to what goes on in the outside world.
Yeah, we got a long weekend this weekend.
Cool.
He's like Wycliffe. I live in a hut.
That's me out.
Cool. Oh,
That's what.
Damien was going to
that's
carry
what-
on then.
Oh, sorry. No.
That's been happening in my
Yeah.
ends.
What about
My
your
ends? Not a lot really. Had more builders coming around to give quotes for the house extension jobby.
Oh, so they're giving quotes now.
Yeah.
So we've got plans.
Well, we've got
Proper
preliminary.
It's easy for you to
Yeah,
say.
we have those plans, and then the architect this week is coming back round to properly measure up and all
Are
that
they on
malarkey.
blue paper with white writing?
No,
on
but
it?
they will be soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
proper
still that is a
blueprints.
real thing, not just like for
No,
TV.
it's a real thing. Blueprints.
Yes.
Although I mean, most of
They're
it's
all
done
on
in
the
CAD
computer
now,
though,
so
aren't they?
I don't think. Yeah, don't think blueprints are a thing now.
You gotta
but
pay
that would
extra.
be
Ask for a copy.
That's what you
Yeah.
got to pay extra for now.
it probably, yeah.
What about planning permission and stuff? Is that going to be quite
Well,
quick then?
technically, we don't need it, but we're still going to go do planning permission because it's just safer. It's
Yeah.
a couple of £100, so it doesn't really make a lot of difference.
And next doors are moving out anyway, aren't they? So they're not
They've
going
gone.
to object.
We've got new neighbours now.
Have you taken him an apple pie to say hi?
No.
Oh, we've.
A casserole.
Do they
It's so
like
nice having you next door
podcasts?
to us.
So when would be an ideal time if we had things we needed to drop off when you were building?
So what?
If we had a few
You got
things
many
we
dead
needed
bodies, have you?
Yeah.
No more than the usual.
Well, you still not paid me for what was dumped under the patio that we had done last year, but you know.
You said prostitutes were free.
Not disposing of them though.
Oh, I had an NUS card.
That only gives you a 5% discount.
That's what she thought. But anyway, moving on. I haven't really killed anyone.
Just for the record.
Yeah, just for the record. It's all banter and jest down our ends.
Cool, fair enough. That's it for me. I don't have anything.
Okay.
Nothing exciting really happens in my life at the moment.
Dun,
No.
dun, dun.
Same here, really. Just got to the end of school. That was fun, and now I'm enjoying a life of luxury for a few weeks before I go back again and have another.
Inset day.
And although it does,
Strike day.
it does look like the strikes are still coming.
Way.
I know. I'm glad about that because I really hope the government were going to make some sort of decision about that and
Well, it's
maybe
just strike
back our
days
teachers.
that don't affect
But-
us because our kids still go in.
But unfortunately, it looks like strikes are still going to have to happen because they're just not listening. But yeah, it's sad times there. Hopefully, one day they will listen.
Fight the power, Brett.
Oh, we try.
Stick it to the man.
Do what the French do.
Ingsoc.
Just burn the place down.
But anyway, on a lighter note, Paul, what have you been watching?
Okay, so I am first of all going to hit you with that Death in Paradise thingy. Paradise
Ooh.
Nights or whatever it is.
You've actually started watching it?
Beyond
watched it all of it, mate.
Paradise.
Yeah, up to date. Did it
I'm
all.
not. I'm one episode behind, so just be careful what you say.
No, I'm not. I'm
No.
not going to give out any spoilers.
But-
you know me, Damien.
But watch it this week. I finally realised something that I hadn't noticed the whole way through, and I was like, "Oh my god!" The
It's set in
business,
England.
the business partner,
Yep.
with the wife's business partner,
We don't
is-
like him.
is
No.
Apollo from the Battlestar Galactica remake.
Oh, I never watched that, so I wouldn't know.
What, without a tan?
Well, back in England, yeah, he's a cool. Yeah, no, it was like with the girl Starbuck. He
Yeah,
was the
yeah, yeah.
Apollo. Yeah, so
First series was alright.
He's gone from that to that. So one hit series after another.
From
And,
hero to zero that
but-
nobody likes because he's trying to pinch his wife.
Smarmy
Yeah.
arsehole.
What are you thinking then, Paul?
It's all right. No, that's about it. It's all right, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, it's not going to change our lives, is it? But it kills an hour. I don't mind it. I don't mind the summing up at the end where they follow the person doing the crime.
Different technique.
Yeah, I don't mind that. It's just nice, easy, slow going watching, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I will say, without raising the ante, but I do think this week's has been the best episode so far.
Oh, cool.
It's quite easy to
I
work
look forward to
out,
that.
but there's nothing wrong
Yeah,
with that.
that's the only thing with it. It's as I said before, it's got everything in it I want Death in Paradise to have, but it's not Death in Paradise
Yeah.
because it's never bloody murder or anything. You know, it's
Yeah.
But
It's not
all
quite
the other stuff's
twisty
there.
enough, is it?
No,
Yeah.
I need more twist and turn. But I'm
No,
loving the
it's
build
got
up
the
of the
comedy.
village and like
It's got them four of them working in the little police office hut thing that they work in, village hall.
Do you know what? So there's a hairdresser's next to that. I got my hair cut in there.
What year?
Probably about 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay, 1997.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
There we
Oh,
go.
Cool.
Cool.
Cool, because you do realise you're going to have to take me there and show me around. I'm going to be a right twat with a camera. Go, police station. There's
Yeah.
where they arrested Dora, or there's where old Finn
Yeah.
in his boat was, or whatever else.
Yeah, so anyway, Death in Paradise thingy. Been watching the first couple of episodes of Ted Lasso that started on Apple TV, third series. It's okay.
I still haven't seen anything like that yet.
I think the problem I have with Ted Lasso is since they did the thing on Disney about Wrexham, I'm more interested in watching that if that was another series of
Yeah.
that,
Oh, it's coming. They just got to finish
Yeah.
the season.
Yeah.
as opposed to watching Ted Lasso because that's kind of real life and quite funny and it's still quite poignant and stuff, whereas Ted Lasso's all completely made up. Started watching The Night Agent on Netflix.
The Night
Oh yeah,
Agent.
seen the title card for that.
Tell me more. I know nothing of this.
It's an
Night
FBI agent, but he works in the White House for like the director of
Fun.
of something like the head honcho in the actual White House, who's not the president. I forgot.
Vice President.
No, it's not. It's
Director General.
something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Who is he?
Secretary of State.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's basically doing some stuff for the Secretary of State.
Do we know who this person is?
Who?
Is that the actor? You keep saying he. Do we know who he is? Is it like?
The main agent.
Yeah, I'm saying. Do we? Is it?
It's not important.
Okay,
No,
I'm just
no
saying.
spoilers here, Brett.
No, like who
You know
the
me.
Who the star is might be quite
No,
interesting. with some people.
it's not like a big person. It's not a big actor, I don't think. Anyway,
I
moving
know
on.
something.
So he's
Okay.
a FBI agent who made a mistake. Well, he didn't make a mistake. He saved the day, but conspiracy theorists are saying that he was actually in on it, which he wasn't. Anyway, so he's doing his time just to get
Wasn't that a Clint Eastwood film?
no, it was a different film, but
No, but wasn't it like they thought he was in on Kennedy?
Oh,
or
there's
something,
loads of
and he
films.
was-
There's loads of
But he
loads and
was a
loads of stuff.
security guy.
disgraced FBI agents
No,
that
but
are
they were
then
still
it's like
president.
that,
redeeming themselves.
Slow Horses.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, so he's working in the White House, serving his time, and basically they get him to man the night phone. So if there's people in trouble, like agents, secret agents, or double agents, or,
Agents.
agents,
Yeah.
undercover agents, they phone the night line that never rings for help. So he's
Boring show then.
So he's going to his room to do his homework, basically, for the FBI director and the Secretary of State. They're competing for his time. But it's okay because he's going to the room.
Yeah, I think you're losing the audience
that-
now. You're
with
losing
the phone
me.
that never rings. But Kel surprise, the phone rings. Because, there's been some agents that
Is it Commissioner
trouble.
Gordon?
No, so he basically has to go and look after the niece or something of the people that have been killed. And she's the only one that she trusts, and he's the only one that can look after her. It's a bit wishy-washy, if I'm honest. There's no real grit to it.
So after all that,
You built
what
this
you're
up a
going
lot.
to say? Don't
You
bother
built
watching
up a
it.
lot to tell us it was very
it
good.
could have been really good, but it hasn't got the same kind of
So
don't-
24.
or lone survivor or whatever it was, which was him, Kiefer Sutherland, designated survivor. Yeah. But it's okay if there's nothing else on. Watch John Wick 1 and 2 just because they were on.
Still not seen them.
No, me neither.
John Wick's all right. Wick 2 is kind of, well, why is he doing that? That's just asking for trouble. Oh, it's to make a second film. And the new one for me,
I'm
'cause I
sure
think-
there's a joke about a candle in there somewhere that someone clever could come up with, but
probably
yeah,
not
burning
us,
the
though.
candle at both ends. Yeah.
On Amazon Prime, I watched Prospect with Pedro Pascal.
Ooh.
So it's a sci-fi film with Pedro Pascal, where he
Is
basically
Pedro Pascal in it?
so Pedro Pascal of the AKA Mandalorian fame, he basically wears a space helmet for all of the film, pretty much all of the film, because they're on the
Carving out a little niche of his
Yeah.
own there then.
they're on an alien planet,
So
and he plays a bad guy to start with. who
He was
kills-
like, when people think of helmets, I want them to think of me.
yeah. So he's probably going to branch out into his motorcycle helmet phase.
He's going to remake Easy Rider.
Yeah, so he starts
And
off
Power Rangers.
as a baddie prospector, and they're on an alien planet where there's this alien thing
Is
that
there a snake in his boot?
no. But anyway, they're all searching for this precious material. He ends up
Sorry, I've just got this image. So you say prospector. I've got this image of a guy in long johns and
No,
a
but
shotgun and then just a
Stinky-
space helmet. Yeah,
Stinky
Stinky Pete,
Pete.
but with a space helmet.
on.
but that's in essence what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it all Wild
Reach
West
for the
type
sky.
stuff. Think of like Book of Boba Fett or The Mandalorian.
I'd rather not.
Brave
to be
Star.
honest.
So all set in space.
Brave Star.
Kind of back to cowboys.
Brave Star?
Yeah, I know Brave Star, Brett. You just keep fucking saying it.
Well, I'm just saying it all sounds like.
He's getting arsey because we're not letting him finish.
I just trying to answer the fucking question, and he keeps saying Brave Star, Brave Star. Why, Sheriff? Why, Sheriff Brave Star?
That was pretty good.
That was very good.
That's the best impression you've ever done.
I was half tempted to start. I think I'll have to edit this bit out, but I'm not going to now.
Oh.
Eyes of the hawk.
Speed of the boomer, the boomer, the... Yeah, anyway. Yeah, so...
Any good?
No, not really.
Right.
No, think of like Pedro Pascal, but in Book of Boba Fett as opposed to Mandalorian. It could be good, but it's
dear.
just not. They missed several tricks in this one.
Okay.
And that's basically it. I'm going to let my voice recover now.
All right, Damien.
Do you know what I've watched? Fuck all, I think.
And who's in that?
Yeah. So I finished Outer Banks, which none of you watch, and it really isn't worth talking about, to be fair. As I said last week, it was almost like they didn't expect to get a third season. And,
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be saying that.
And it all comes to a nice conclusion. So you think, oh, that's it. Nice conclusion. They've, from what they set out to do in the first episode of the first season, all gone round full circle.
They've saved the world.
But then they get another offer to do something. Unless you've seen it, it's not worth going into
Season 4?
So there's a season 4. Yeah, exactly. And then I'll, being the schmuck that I am, we'll probably end up watching season 4.
You don't have to,
I know.
Does she watch it? Is she making you watch it?
No. It was something I discovered.
Have you finished the
You're just a
Have you
glutton for
finished the
punishment.
people that fell through the hole yet?
No, but I think there's a season break because on Paramount, it's only going. Season 2's only going up to episode 7. But if you Wikipedia it, there's something like 12, 13 episodes.
Okay.
So they might, and it's not. So,
Maybe they just ran out of money and waiting
or
for a
they've
bit
just
more investment.
Yeah, they'll just fuck it. We're not going to bother putting the rest of these out because it's shit. Grace on ITV, which is a detective drama, which we don't talk about, a bit like Bruno. And I've started watching the 3rd season, I think, of Big Sky, which was the...
We're on a plane, boss.
No, got nothing to do.
Oh, no, but that's the one a bit like Lost and people that made Lost.
Don't think so.
Damien Linders is one of
No.
them. It is one of them.
Was it?
Yeah.
Fight!
Yeah, well, if you say so, but it's
got
nothing like
It's
Lost.
got a blonde lady in it.
Yeah, but it might be made by
Is
the
this-
same
is
people.
Oh,
this
yeah,
the
no,
one-
I'm just saying it's made
Is this
by...
the one that you said there's like lots of scenery and stuff?
Yeah, it's a really good show.
Yeah.
And it's like one long sort of detective story arc from start to finish. But again, I mean, it's not, it's not sci-fi. It's not anything that we would normally talk about.
We talk about...
Detective can be cult, though.
Yeah,
so,
it is
yeah.
good. It's very good. But it's nothing special.
Cool.
And I think that's it.
Brilliant. Mr. Summers, what you been watching?
Problem is, I haven't been watching, and I have an issue.
Is your telly broke?
Something has ground my gears. And I'm talking to you, ITVX. I'm talking to you.
But ITVX is the freshest streaming service going.
Fresh.
Well, it was fresh, and some of it's still fresh. But what's not fresh is taking off episodes of a program I'm watching in order before I watch them.
He's talking about Sherwood, isn't he?
Robin of Sherwood has been sort of...
So do you have to subscribe to this now?
Oh, I'm on the premium.
Oh,
I'm on the top flight.
He's going to write a letter to his MP. Do what the French do, Brett. Burn them down.
It does happen.
ITV, he's coming for you.
I'll be in ITVX.
Be afraid.
Yeah, I don't know why. Season 1 is started. It's almost like when you record it on the telly. Like you can only watch it if it's been on a couple of weeks. You can only see, like when they don't have the whole series on there, and you get a couple from the week before, but then they slowly disappear as it goes on. It's like that. Season 2 and 3 are still on there, but season 1 is now gone.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's like a pay-per-view in the coming weeks just for you.
No,
I reckon they've got some clever
I
algorithm.
reckon, no, just the work experience kid pressed the wrong button.
Yeah. Or he's the only one watching it.
Yeah.
Someone's
So it's
getting
like,
done.
yeah, it is. It's some YTS kid that's seen the lowest viewers. So, there's only one person watching this. He's only got up to episode 4.
Yeah. We might be fresh, but we haven't got the bandwidth to deal with this.
But season 2 is starting to disappear, I think, and then obviously 3's going
From
So why-
the
why would I
last
carry on?
episode backwards. That would be brilliant.
So why would I carry on? And I just don't see why they've done that, because it's not like it's in demand, is it? Let's be honest. It's...
Well, you talk about it every week. You're enjoying
Yeah.
Well, I
it.
was. I'm not going to do it anymore. It's gone. It's history. It's gone back. into the annals of TV
Well,
voltage.
Vote with your wallet. Cancel
Yeah.
your subscription
Yeah, but all
to
the other
Write
stuff
a
ITV.
letter.
is
Just write send in a complaint.
I just don't see what they've done. I'm going to hashtag this.
Yeah.
Tweet them on
ITVX.
Twitter.
Why
Yeah.
I would say Facebook then.
Use our Cult Faction podcast handle. Or-
Yeah, ITVX shitting on Sherwood. Hashtag it, everyone. We'll get it back.
No, that-
Restore the Sherwood universe. Something or
Yeah.
another. I don't know.
So yeah, so that was
some
annoying.
more catchy hashtags
Yeah.
coming your
Didn't,
way.
I should have thought that one out before I started saying it, shouldn't I?
Some words. But yeah, it's just really annoying. Everything else is on there, and there's more stuff being added. But the one program I was fucking watching is no longer on there, or it's slowly being disintegrated by Thanos or something. I don't know what the problem is, but it's yeah.
Okay, so
Skip
so
that.
that's what you've not been watching. What have you been watching?
Well, it was WrestleMania weekend, baby.
Great.
I won't go too much into all that, but WrestleMania's 2 days now because they weren't making it. They weren't making enough money to start with. But yeah, so that's pretty much been.
So does that mean
most
you have to go full on student as well? Because it finishes at 4 a.m., starts at 11 the next
I'll
night.
be honest. On the first night, I fell asleep, then watched it the next day and finished off. But the second night, I was there. I'd done it still.
Cool.
WrestleMania like 39 or something.
I think Mum's still got, lasting memories of us watching it when we were teenagers, and her just like stumbling down at 4:30 in the morning when the sun was coming up, going,
Yeah.
"You're still here then." And probably Dad not far behind saying, "Does he want another beer?" "Oh, thank you, Mr. Hawkins. I'll take one with me."
The original Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
No, it was good. And obviously there's big news with them now merging with the UFC and all that, so there's gonna make more money. But I'm happy that hopefully it'll all be on one app, because that saves me some money then.
I
But, yeah.
dread to think how much money you spank on apps and TV and whatnot.
Well,
You're
he's,
subscribing to ITV.
he hasn't got much else to spend it on, has he? Apart from his good lady now, who he should be spending it on. Oh no, but he even got her to watch it with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you fancy like a date night tonight, love? We could get like a takeaway in and stuff, and then watch something on the box.
7 hours later.
What do you mean that's night one? She liked it.
What?
I
Even the
think-
bit where you just fell asleep on the couch.
Oh, she's already gone bed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she was loving it, wasn't she?
She liked it that much. She went to bed.
It didn't
Put
start. It didn't start till 1 a.m.
She just put you in the recovery position and left you there.
Just like the old days.
Yeah.
All right. I've also been enjoying the latest series of Rick and Morty. I think it's been on. I've recorded them and caught up on it.
So are we allowed to watch that again now?
No, I've never stopped. He was found not guilty anyway.
That's
or
what I mean.
whatever
So
it was,
it's
after they sacked him
Yeah.
and everything else. But yeah, I'm still enjoying the show.
I've never watched it, but and I'm not interested in a conversation about it. In that sense, you can tell us about it, but I'm not interested in hearing that you should watch it. Back to the
Well, you
Future,
should.
You can speak, Brett. but
Marty
it's just-
McFly,
He doesn't want to hear
etc.
you. He's not interested
Well,
in it.
you should though, 'cause
And he'd probably cut you
you'd
out.
actually like it, and it's very, very, very clever.
Whatever.
I'm sure it is.
Try one episode.
It's just like South Park, isn't it? Or The Simpsons. I don't even watch The Simpsons anymore. Well, that's not true.
Rick
I
and-
do
Rick
on a
and
Sunday
Morty's-
when it's on.
Rick
If
and
there's
Morty's
nothing
on a
else on.
different level though, because Rick and Morty is like, it's just very, very clever. There are a lot of in jokes.
Oh,
and meta
let's be
things
honest.
on
We all just want the live action version with Christopher Lloyd.
it. They did the trailer for that.
Yeah, no,
didn't they?
exactly. So if they had that, if there was a Rick and Morty film with him in it, I'd watch it.
I don't think he would say a lot of the things that Rick says.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Mind you,
But
at this,
when he
at
was
this
in
point in his
Nobody.
career,
Yeah, when he was in Nobody, he was, he
Kicked
didn't hold
ass.
back.
yeah, that's true. And he was a good drunk in Taxi
Mm.
Yeah.
and a priest. He was a vicar. He was a priest at one point. Wasn't he in Taxi?
Don't know. It's a bit really before my time, really.
Taxi was, yeah.
Okay, well that's Rick and Morty. It's really good. Check it out. And so I watched last night.
No, I don't.
I'm going to tell you.
Cool.
It was on.
Not ITVX.
And, no.
Boycott them.
Yeah. Shitting on Sherwood.
Hashtag.
I hadn't seen it for a long time. We talked about it a little while ago. It was the last episode of MASH.
Oh, okay.
It was Farewell, Forever, and
Yeah.
whatever you call it. And
Do you need a hug?
no, it was. I can't work out if they'd edited it or I just
Misremembered.
Mandela'd it.
Yeah.
But I
So the last one is the
remember-
one when he's talking, when
It is
Hawkeye
the
is talking
chick-
about
yeah,
the chicken.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's in the breakdown. Yeah, but he literally talks about it for about a minute, and I remember that being half the episode. of
Yeah,
like
so
him.
do I.
He has the breakdown, and gradually they're coming back from the beach on the thing, and he passes a bottle to the soldier, but it's not a bottle. He passes it to it's a like an IV drip thing, and he's trying to save him, whatever. And then the whole bit of what happens isn't what happened. That bit unpacks, but the whole bit with the chicken is like he asked her to be quiet, and then she killed the chicken, but then it wasn't a chicken. It was, but it's all plays out in like a minute, and I was like, I remember this being longer.
Yeah. Maybe because it had that effect.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
Because it's the only bit of the episode that's really
I thought it
remembered.
kept coming back, like the chicken was winding him up, and then it'd come back. It was almost
Yeah,
like
there was a short bit.
like
Will you
narrow-
shut
like
up that chicken?
so-
Type.
yeah,
Yeah.
But it's all like one scene, and then it's one and
Yeah.
done.
I've
and
not
that-
seen it for a very long
no,
time.
that's
So
what I mean. But
What did you watch it on?
I don't know. It was on
yeah,
Paramount or something
it's
like
on
that.
or it used to be on the
Or one
like
of them.
original Paramount channel, but I don't know what that's called now. Sony TV or something.
Yes, but it was still good. But it was just like, it was just
It
surprising.
sounds like there's gremlins in the system. They're just targeting what you were watching.
No, it's because we're in a different timeline. Like all those
Yeah, it's the
twats
Mandela
on-
effect.
It's all those twats on what's it called, TikTok. So it's because they changed it. It's the timeline changed. No, you just didn't remember it properly.
Yeah.
Daniel LaRusso always had that headband. Go away.
Well, I've not heard that one, but
Oh no, the headband changed since it was originally on in 1984.
What?
okay.
He has a different headband because the timeline changed.
Okay, so what are they saying the headband was?
The headband originally, apparently, was the Japanese flag with the red bits coming off it, and not the black
I thought it was the
flower.
tree.
That's the backpack. It's the black. It's the lotus flower thing. It's black and white,
Okay.
but apparently it's red. But I think all it was is that like some knockoff posters
Yeah.
that just had that on it, and people remember that and not actually what was in the film.
Yeah.
People need to get life.
But yeah, there's video. Go on, if you go on
No,
to your
no.
social media,
not gonna do
there's
it.
a whole wormhole going down there. But it's just you just didn't remember.
But yeah, I don't mind doing it for some of the other stuff, but not for what bandana he was wearing on Karate Kid. Jeez.
It's been changed.
Okay.
And Beyond Paradise we've spoken about, and my last bit is just got back up to date now. Got time with The Mandalorian, and really good. Oh man, this is the best written series they've done so far.
What episode number are we on now? Because I'm
Is it
not watching it until it's finished.
5 now? Or
There's-
4?
It was the latest one is the pirate. Just a second.
That's not a number.
Which,
It's called the pirate. So it is. So if you're playing at home, you'll be shouting that number out us already. And is that number?
I thought it was chapter 4.
It's a bit more than that.
It's got to be more than that, surely.
Chapter 5.
Chapter 5.
Yeah.
5 of 8.
5 of 8. Okay,
Yeah.
so
That's good.
I
And there
might
are
start watching it this
a
week then.
lot of Freds. Yeah, and number 6 is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Ooh, through the looking glass there, people. Yeah, a lot of Freds picked up. It
But to be
does.
fair, anyone who thinks we're going out live needs their headphones.
Yeah. Shh! Don't kill the magic. And
Well, it's the fact
and
that we
and
say it drops at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah,
GMT. It's like none of us are up that early to do a podcast.
I am.
And then get to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not to do a podcast. So I'm
No,
trying
no,
to
I
work
know-
out how
yeah.
to get dressed still. But no, back to Mandalorian. Though. It's really cool. There are a lot of things getting pulled together that have been sprinkled out. The one-off episode we talked about the other week threads itself in very, very, very nicely, and I'm very excited where this could go now because it's kind of. There's even one of the characters from Rebels, isn't it?
Yep.
The cartoon series in live action form
Cool.
with the original guy doing the voice again. No, but everyone's excited, Damien.
Oh,
I know you're like,
pleased
I
for
know,
them.
I know you're going like,
It warms the
yeah.
cockles of my heart.
The
That
thing
was
is,
groovy.
you can see that they're setting themselves up for the long game with the Mandalorian.
Yeah,
This isn't just going to be this season.
I was thinking when I was watching this, I
well, they
thought,
kind of have to because Yoda's lived for donkey's years.
Well, that's the only thing that's starting to really bug me now, is that he's going through all his foundling training, and he looks like 6 months old, but he's really 50 or whatever.
yeah, they
And you
aged
just kind of
long
think,
time.
no, but that's what I mean. But you're never going to see him actually grow up into like the short Yoda version. He's always going to be bloody baby Yoda.
And Grogu, he has a name.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I mean. He's going to be a baby Yoda
Well, we might
species.
we
isn't he?
might time jump in another series, and it's him as an old man.
Have
then
they ever
you're not gonna
named the
have the
species of Yoda?
Never have.
No. Okay.
That's part of the mystery. But
There's only ever been 3 of them that they've talked about, isn't there?
yeah, there was Yaddle and Yoda on the Jedi Council, and then Grogu.
Grogu.
But what's going to hinder this
Interesting
show
fact
now?
for you then.
Yeah,
Pop,
for you lot
pop
keeping
fans.
notes. But what's going to hinder this show now is having.
Is the YTS kids gonna stop streaming it on Disney? But just the last episode stops just for Brett.
burning down the house. No, they've got to link this into what comes next, and that is going well. But this is almost like if there weren't the 3 films that came out, this could have gone really well.
Well,
whatever.
there's already been discussions about forgetting those last 3.
That's never going to happen.
Well, you never know.
That's never.
You
ever-
never
they
know with John
never-
Favreau.
They'll go round them, but they won't. That'll just. It's not going to happen.
Might do.
I don't think it will.
Might do.
But anyway, there are. This is leading to those films, but it just I don't know. I feel like they've got all these ideas, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, we got to tie it in with this," because the stuff they've come up with in season 3, and how they've linked in so many different elements and
Yep.
of Star Wars from the books, from the cartoons, from all the other things, has been genius. But we all know where it's heading. Although we like the Force Awakens.
Yeah, but they've got like 20 years to get to that point. So let's face it, The Mandalorian isn't going to go on for another 20 seasons.
Grogu might.
Yeah, but I think people can get bored of watching Grogu.
I think in the next season it's Grogu.
Because even in 20 years, he's still going to be like 8 months
No,
old.
but I think
in
the
real
next
life.
season is just Grogu moving along from planet to planet, helping someone along the way, and then moving on again because he doesn't want to settle down until tomorrow,
Yeah.
and he's just going to keep moving on. But that's
I'd watch
my
that.
money's on. I would.
As long as it was like he kicked some ass at the
The
same time.
littlest Grogu.
スポットライト
Okay, welcome to our spotlight this week, where the Philadelphia experiment
It's
gets
under
a-
the spotlight.
goes under the spotlight. I was going to say gets a grilling.
Oh, right.
But-
Okay, fair enough.
Right.
It's a 1984 American science fiction film. It is directed by Stewart Raffill, who also did High Risk, The Ice Pirates, Mac and Me, Mannequin 2 On the Move, and Tammy and the T-Rex.
Explains a lot.
And
Some
it stars.
classics in there.
Oh yeah, and it stars Michael Parr, who was also Paré, who was Eddie and the Cruisers, amongst other things. Greatest American Hero, Bobby DeSico, Keenan Holiday, and the legendary Nancy Allen.
We
And it's
love you,
based on
Nancy.
the urban legend of the Philadelphia experiment. Now, it had a budget of $9 million and made just under that under the box office, and kind of made it up a bit later. But yeah, it didn't do as well as people thought it would. And a $9 million budget in 1984 wasn't,
It's not to be sniffed at.
Yeah, it wasn't a throwaway, and it did appear that they hired all the best
not
people.
Kroll money.
Yeah, but it did appear that they hired all the best people that did the time tunnel.
Yeah.
From 40 years before that. But at the time of its release, it had the fastest theatrical to video window in film history. It opened in August. It was out on video by the end of October.
You'd have loved that.
I know.
I think for our younger listeners, if there are any, this was the day and age when it was almost up to a year
Yeah,
before
Oh,
something
easily.
got
Easily a year.
from cinemas to home video.
But this was
Well-
rushed through, I think, in the hope of making up that missing money.
Unless your dad knew a man that knew a man. And
Yeah,
then you'd
Oh
be
yeah, we all
watching.
had those really ropey copies, even like
Mate,
camcorder at the back of the cinema jobs.
Yeah.
your dad's mate down the pub, home video service. It was a bit like Netflix, but before Netflix. But it was based on a true story, apparently, in the Philadelphia experiment. So at this point, we turn the spotlight over to our Fortean forefather, Mr. David Hicks.
All right, you want a kind of
can we-
overview of
Yeah, give us the facts.
I
What's
say-
the story behind
the
this?
story behind the.
I
the-
say facts, but you know what I mean.
I know. It's just, we're using that in its loosest term. Okay, so I've kind of written down something that this is all from memory. Well, most of it's from memory anyway, so I'll give it a go. So you had this guy called Morris Jessup, who was a used car parts seller, a scientist, a teacher, and an author.
Sounds similar to me.
Yeah. But he wrote a book called The Case for the UFO. And one morning, he received a handwritten letter from this guy called himself Carl Allen, or sometimes Carlos Allende.
I was going to say Carlos Alanos.
Yes, I know. It is one of those things. This is just one of the most bizarre things to become an urban legend. That I just don't see how it even got traction. But anyway, so Carl explains in his letter that he wishes to correct him on some facts that he's written in his latest book, The Case for the UFO. He goes on to explain that Albert Einstein's unified theory was not, as widely believed, a dead end. In fact, not only have the equations been solved, but during the height of the Second World War, I think it was actually it's in the film, is it 1943?
Yeah.
In the film, so I'm assuming they kept that fact in inverted commas. Yeah. So in 1943, the U.S. Navy conducted experiments and using the unified theory.
Theory of relativity?
No, it's not a theory of relativity. This is unified field theory, which is all about wormholes and all of that stuff. Using that theory, they managed to render a ship invisible. I think in the film, they say they're making it invisible to radar, aren't they?
Yeah.
But the actual experiment, again, if you believe any of this at all, was just to make the ship invisible. I think,
To the human eye?
yeah, I think they've just
Okay.
tried to kind of make it a little bit more grounded by saying invisible to radar in the film. And he knows this because he's witnessed the experiment. So he explains that he was on board a cargo ship in Philadelphia.
It must be true then.
Yeah, it must be. He saw it happen. He's on a cargo ship in Philadelphia. He works for the Coast Guard apparently, and he's positioned a few hundred yards away from the USS Eldridge. When all of a sudden a green fog surrounds the Eldridge, and it then the fog starts to morph into some kind of see-through force field.
Wasn't this a John Carpenter film anyway?
So Alan claims he can see the crew becoming translucent, and then before his very eyes, the ship just literally disappears. However, where the ship once was, I'd say once stood, but that doesn't really work, does it?
Once
where
floated.
Where the ship once floated, there's still like that indent in the water, like the displacement. That's the word I'm looking for. So the water is still displaced, as if it's still there.
That happens when I poo.
Thanks for that. Then, within a blink of an eye, the ship is back as if it had never disappeared. But Alan can hear like blood-curdling screams coming from the deck, and he claims to be able to see crewmen fused to the ship, some with limbs literally sticking out of the hull and stuff
all,
like that.
All melty and stuff.
All melty and stuff.
I love the fact that they do this top secret experiment.
Smack bang in the middle of a dockyard.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Although, to be fair, it's the height of the war, so just got to do it where you got to do it. Who knows?
If only
Anyway,
the States was like really big,
well, where would you expect them to do it?
like in the middle of the ocean, in the waters that they own, far away from prying eyes.
But then they're not anywhere near the buildings they need to be in to do the stuff they need to do.
They're in a boat.
Yeah, but the people back on shore need to be doing stuff as well.
They'd have support boats with them, wouldn't they?
Not necessarily. This is 1943.
Right.
The war is in full effect. They
And
haven't got boats coming out of their arse, you know.
Well,
There's
they had
boats are on missions.
They had lots of atolls in the middle of the ocean. Those little islands. They could have set up a base there.
Don't shoot the
Wow.
messenger. I'm only explaining what this urban legend is.
It'd be like the Navy doing experiments in Portsmouth as all the cruise ships are going out.
They do.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't.
They do. It happens all the time. And they weren't expecting anything. It's like it's not like
the people of Portsmouth.
Well, they weren't expecting it to work anyway.
well, yeah, they weren't expecting what
boat
happened
to
to happen.
disappear.
Yeah.
Anyway, what happens then?
Anyway, so then he gets a second letter which goes on to say that the US Aldridge didn't just disappear from view, but actually teleported 300 miles and materialized at a dock in Norfolk, Virginia, as witnessed by a couple of hundred people, apparently. Although, if it did teleport, why was the water still displaced?
Yeah.
And why Virginia?
And why would it go to another port?
Haven't they?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
No, none of it makes
Anyway,
any sense.
Because that would imply it was controlled.
But that's
Then what-
basically it in a nutshell.
Then what happened? Yeah, but so what's the view on this? Is it taken
It's
seriously?
bullshit.
No, but like from this, what happened?
What do you mean? What happened?
So
It's just
he's
snowballed.
Became urban
he's written
legend.
these letters, and did they write a book about it? Then I'll take it or something.
Well, he contacted the military numerous occasions.
And they said no, that didn't happen.
They denied it.
Oh, well,
but-
that means it is true then.
Exactly. But also, apparently, I think he did die in mysterious circumstances a couple of years later, which then,
Fueled.
put
fire.
fuel to the fire. Exactly.
So is there any truth to anything happening at all? Not necessarily. I'm not talking.
Yeah,
going
Damien, is there?
No, no. I'm not talking going invisible or going like disappearing or whatever.
All that stuff. Well, I mean, there's obviously loads of experiments that were carried out.
So was there a USS Eldridge? Do we
Yeah.
know?
There was a USS
So
Eldridge.
that's a fact then. But it's just basically
Just never in
Lo-
Philadelphia.
loads of war experiments going on. The boat did exist, so he's picked a name of something that was at least around and being experimented on, maybe, but not in a way that turned it invisible, teleported it around the planet, and brought it back again.
No.
No one believed that.
I don't. Well, there's a lot of people that do believe it.
I wouldn't be surprised if something happened, but not that.
But this is it. I mean, it could quite easily be that there was an experiment into radar invisibility that he did see.
So I imagine
in
there would have been
Philadelphia.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But creating interference waves or
Yeah.
Probably
something
something
like
just
that.
blew up and they all got burned or something. I
Yeah.
can imagine something like that or a fire. The only reason that I always kept a little toe in the water on this one is because when the film came out, the US Navy made a massive point of doing nothing to support the making of this film or anything. Any permission they were asked for, they were like, no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no. And they didn't want to be associated with it, and that's why you don't see any insignias or anything like that on the uniforms because they weren't allowed. They were like, we don't want nothing of this. And obviously that fed the rumours even more. But it just seems for a lot of the time when they just let it all go and it's everywhere, they made a massive point of having nothing to do with this and making sure.
Well, maybe it was like at the height of the Cold War and they were a bit busy.
Yeah, but normally they'd let them have the uniforms or they'd just make up a logo and put it on the hat. And they were like, no, you can't have that. You can't have the rank things. You can't have the...
They just thought the storyline was shit.
They wouldn't have known the storyline. It was just being made then, but they knew it was about this and they sort of put their foot down.
Well, yeah,
But
they'd need to know what the film was about.
no,
to
you just
endorse
just
it.
hire it. Same as like when someone plays a policeman in a TV show. Normally, they have to make some changes to the uniform here and there, so it's not an exact copy.
Well,
but they're
anyway,
allowed.
their loss is our gain because
Yeah.
they went for Star Trek 4 instead, and they endorsed that.
They went for the time tunnel. They weren't even at Star Trek.
No, I meant
4.
the Navy.
Oh yeah, but they have that. Yeah, But anyway, so you can look up the real speech marks Philadelphia Experiment online. There's hours of entertainment there for you to read through. But we're going to focus now back on the film. We just want to give you a bit of the backstory beforehand, just so you get an idea of it. So the film starts in 1943, where we see the United States Navy sailors David Herdig by Pare and Jim Parker DeCeo, and they're thrown forward in time to the year 1984, when a scientific experiment performed aboard the USS Eldridge suffers a catastrophe. And the film follows the two men as they attempt to survive the future and race against time to put an end to the experiment, which is now threatening the fate of the entire world, as everything did in 1984. Whatever happened.
Well, it was the Cold War, so, we were at constant
It looked quite warm then,
heightened
though.
alert.
And there wasn't much racing going on.
John Carpenter wrote an original draft of the script. He called it a great shaggy dog story. Absolute crap, but what a great story. A friend suggested that maybe the crew could get revenge against the people who put them there, but then he said, no, that sounds like The Fog, and twiddled with it even more. Then Stewart Raffill came on as director, and he said by then the script had been rewritten 9 times, and he agreed to do the film subject to the next rewrite, and which he thought was terrible. The head of the studio agreed, and basically he dictated the script over the next 3 weeks before he started filming. So it was a bit of a rush job, and but something good seemed to have come out of the urgency of getting that script done within 3 weeks. So
What?
the film. So Paul, original viewing ideas, experiences.
I just
Do you remember?
I just remember Nancy Allen and people's limbs coming out of the boat. I think everything else is more about urban legend of what I've seen on TV programs about the actual Philadelphia story. I didn't actually remember anything about the film other than those 2 bits. Nancy Allen, limbs coming out of a boat. That's the only thing that stayed with me from the actual film.
Damien.
I'm not entirely sure I've ever even seen this film up until this week,
Yeah.
obviously, because I think I said last week I could have sworn Michael Ironside was in it, so I must have been thinking of something completely different. I genuinely don't think I've seen this,
So
I don't have any memories of
I only
it.
watched it after I watched RoboCop with Nancy Allen and found out that she was in this.
Yeah.
Read the blurb. I thought, all right, the film actually sounds okay as well. So I watched that.
So I remember her at this point as the girl from Carrie, who was like,
Yeah.
because she was the one I liked in Carrie, because Sissy Spacek was weird.
Yeah, she'd done about 3 or 4 Brian De Palma films by this point, didn't she?
Yeah, she was. Everyone's like, oh, she was only in RoboCop. She's
Yeah.
done a lot of stuff.
She's loads of things before RoboCop.
Yep.
So
I think her only issue was that Phoebe Cates came along. Well, as far as I was concerned, anyway.
Right.
And Michael Parr had been Eddie in the Cruisers, and he'd done something else massive, and I can't think what it is now. It's gone out of my head. But he was he's in The Greatest American Hero. He was
Well,
one of the-
that's not hard.
Yeah. But he was one of the school kids that Ralph taught.
Yeah.
He was probably older than him.
Yeah.
Sit down in my class. It's like, dude, I'm 10 years older than you, What else did he do? He did something. But, but he was around, he was an early 80s benchmark, and so I knew him. And I just remember, this is another one I can remember the video case to, and I think it was one of those sort of every few months or every sort of 6 months when there was something you couldn't find to rent, you'd go back to that and go, I'll watch that again. That was pretty cool.
Okay.
But
I
okay,
think
then
you might be the only person that thinks that, but
I'm talking 1984. Me, it had time travel in. There's that, Right, Mr. Hawkins.
Okay,
If
so
you'd like to take us down the road of the plot.
Yeah, but you've missed the start of the film. Because I've got some issues with the start of the film, okay? So it starts at a dance.
Okay.
Right? So we've got the 2 sailors, David Herdig and Jim Parker, allegedly best buddies, yeah? So Jim Parker's dancing with his wife and their new baby on the way. you've got David Herdig that's basically Me Tooing some poor girl who's not having any of it, but he's still groping her. Okay. And then, Jim Parker's wife wants to sit out a fast dance. So she asks his husband to dance with David's girl. I'm thinking to give her a break and let her get away. On the way back to the table, or when they're sitting down, David says to her, he's a lucky man. And she then says to him, well, you had your chance. And then he says, yeah, I did, but messed it up or whatever. It's like, what? So not only is there a slimy, little git trying to get his end away with a woman that's not having any of it, but he's still making, advances towards her. He also tried to get off with his, or something was going on between him and his best friend's
I took
missus.
it like he knocked her back, so she went with the friend. I took it was a bit like that.
Well, no, exactly. But he was also trying to get his end away with his best mate's wife before he got together. And the look that they gave each other, I'm sorry, he wasn't in my good books at this point.
Yeah, but we needed that later on.
Yeah, but I didn't like him.
Okay.
I didn't like him. Not setting up a hero in the best hero light, is it?
No, you're right.
Clark
You're
Kent.
right.
It's a salient point that needed to be made.
Yeah, Clark Kent wouldn't have done anything like that. Or the greatest American superhero. He wouldn't have done anything like that either. That's why he didn't get the gig. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, so David Herdig and his so-called best friend Jim Parker, they're serving aboard the destroyer escort, the USS Eldridge, which is docked in Philadelphia, where everything happens. Just ask Tom Hanks. Dr. James Longstreet and his team are conducting an experiment, as we've mentioned previously, to try and render a ship invisible to radar. But there's a big malfunction, and it causes the ship to completely disappear with some weird special effects and weird lighting.
Very Invaders meets Time Tunnel.
Yeah.
That was what I wrote down in my notes.
So
The red glow and then the...
Yeah.
So while all hell is breaking loose, David and Jim, they try and stop the experiment but fail. So they decide to jump overboard because they're only in the docks anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
what could go wrong?
Yeah, but as opposed to ending up in the water safe and sound, because there's probably some cargo ship with someone watching passing by, making notes probably, they end up going through the time tunnel or hyperspace or whatever it is.
An exciting start, I thought. Sets the scene well, but it was... I keep joking about Time Tunnel, and you said as well, but it was like that bit on one of those TV shows you get before the credits.
I know, it absolutely
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
you even get the credits, don't you? At that point, still.
No,
it was
we've done the
before
credits.
that cover credit. But it was that kind of,
Yeah, you needed a voiceover. Like,
yeah.
Dr. Beckett, lost in time.
Yeah. At this point, I wasn't blown away by a lot of the special effects. It just looked like they managed to get some phasing of colours, like in the old TV when you used to be able to
Yeah. It
tune
was.
in
It
and
was the
tune out a little
Invaders.
bit.
It was when they used to dissolve in the Invaders. They
Yeah.
glow red. And
Yeah, and that was in the 60s.
Yeah, exactly. And so was
Anywho.
the Time Tunnel.
Anywho,
Okay, so they've jumped overboard. They land during the night in a small town, which also disappears. Just like my laptop screen's just disappeared. There we go, we're back. Leaving them marooned in a desert. Startled by the appearance of unfamiliar aircraft, which is basically a helicopter, they flee, and Jim is nearly electrocuted by an electric fence. Eventually, they find their way to a roadside diner where they meet some punks.
I like that bit. Like,
So on their way to this diner, they pick up a beer bottle. I can't remember what the actual...
Coke can.
and a
Oh, no, it was
cocaine.
It-
Just jumping your gun a bit here. They pick up a beer bottle, and it's got a German name of a beer, so
Yeah.
they're already thinking, "Oh,
The
what's
one that
going on
sounds
here?"
non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're thinking to themselves, "This is German,"
Yeah.
which is obviously in 1943 is not a good look.
Not a
You
good
don't want to be
thing.
caught with that in your hand.
No, but then all of a sudden it's fine because they find the all-American Coca-Cola,
Yeah.
but the can looks strange.
What's it made out of?
Yeah,
It's lighter, isn't it?
It's not paper.
yeah, it's not in a bottle. Anyway, so they've done that. Then they then end up at this roadside diner.
And And
Jim is.
So I was drinking them out of a can of Coke. But I said, that's how you do product placement.
Yeah.
It's just,
And that's not the last
it
of the,
part of the
the
plot,
Coca-Cola product placement. So,
oh, they're at the dining, you said, sorry.
yeah. David goes off to make a phone call. I think he's trying to go and phone base. Jim is sat at the table. They've ordered ham and eggs, I think.
Yep.
And
Scrambled.
oh yeah, they wanted scrambled eggs, not over easy like what normally happens in most of these diners.
What David's used to. He's used to the over easies by the sound of it.
So, but he looks up at the TV screen, and you've got some topless girl being chased by
He's loving that bit,
a
isn't he?
dinosaur type thing. But he can't work. No one else is paying any attention. So
He's just seeing breasts on TV.
Exactly.
He's more than happy.
This doesn't happen to him in 1943.
He's married with a kid
for a
on the
start,
way.
it'd be black and white. Anyway, so then you get an energy discharge comes from him and destroys 2 arcade machines behind him.
He's not having a good day, is he?
He's not, is he? His hand's been hurting this entire time, and now he's getting some sort of discharge.
It's black hand.
Yeah.
Electrocuted by electric fence. Thrown off a ship that's been, blowing up.
This is not good, is it? The 2 arcade games explode, which forces an altercation with the owner. Flee into the parking lot. He runs into I keep wanting to say, it is David, isn't it? He runs into David, and they take a woman named Alison hostage and force her to drive them away. Confused by their surroundings, they're shocked when Alison tells them that the year is 1984.
Da, da, da.
They're tracked and apprehended by the police. Jim, who is suffering increasingly severe seizures, is hospitalised before disappearing from his hospital bed in a flash of light. David and Alison then evade military police, who have arrived to take David into custody. They hold up at a motel where David enjoys TV, phones. Oh, where David enjoys TV. I kind of feel like there should be a full stop there. He then phones Jim's wife, Pamela, and hangs up and has an all-round freak out. Whilst watching the news, David watches President Ronald Reagan on television. He says he looks familiar and asks if this press conference is actually a movie. The next year, much more famously, Christopher Lloyd's character asks Michael J. Fox, who is president. So the Philadelphia experiment beat Back to the Future to the punch by a year with basically the same joke. I take issue with that, but let's carry on.
Well, it is the joke. Yeah, so we get this. I guess this is the fish out of water scene. We're seeing how different the world is from 1942 or whatever in video games and TV and
yeah, but they just don't play on that enough.
No, that's what I was going to say. But it's like, oh, okay then, and then everyone carries on.
He takes it in his stride, but there's so many things they could have done with that.
Yeah.
I can't think of any off the top of my head, but
would have been interesting to see what the arcade games were actually.
And like the punk bit, I thought something more was going to happen with that. I thought, oh, this could be quite cool, like Clash of Cultures. And I thought, are they going to almost Star Trek before Star Trek again? Like you said, they would meet the punks, they do something, have a fight even, because they think they're Native Americans or something. I don't know, but it all kind of gets played down and. Like the most shocking bit of doesn't he watch like Abbott and Costello or something like that? That's what he picks on the telly, and it's like, oh, okay then. But yeah, wasted potential there, I think. So still in 1984, Longstreet has attempted to use the same technologies that were used in the Aldridge experiment to create a shield as protection from the ICBM attack. When the equipment was tested, the shielded town disappeared into hyperspace. The scientists are unable to shut down the experiment, which has then created a vortex that is drawing matter into it and causing extremely unstable and severe weather conditions. And apparently the actual town being destroyed and dragged into the vortex was shot in Utah, and the city needed funds to help pay for a new sewage system. So director Stewart Raffill purchased a block of rundown abandoned buildings and had his special effects team blow them up for the film. So
cool.
Helping out the local community and making a film. Longstreet, though, he is predicting that this vortex will continue to expand until the entire world is consumed. So the scientists send a probe into the vortex. And this is the bit that gives you goosebumps and turns you cold when the shock revelation comes back when they see the Aldridge inside the vortex. A shock Longstreet then makes a phone call. I think that's supposed to be that bit where you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah.
Just not though, is it?
No. So you've got this sort of plastic model of a boat
Yeah.
floating, and next to it is what looks like a really bad model of the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I thought it was at one point. It's
Yeah.
like, what?
I remember in 1984 being really shocked by that.
Really?
But now, no, but like, oh my God, the boat's there and that was, it was cool. And the concept is cool. But yeah, I wasn't even sure if it was a model, but it looked like they had a picture sideways that they just kept going past really quickly. Because I thought they were going to zoom in or whatever, but they didn't.
Just kind of reminded me a bit of Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
with a tornado and just like
inside a time tunnel.
Half expecting like a witch to appear flying around them both.
They definitely, the special effects team, were influenced by stuff about at least 20 years before that, weren't they? They weren't looking to break new ground with special effects.
Is it a bit like Extro, where the production team were just off on it or something?
Well, at least they tried. This just looks like they found like a cheap way to do it, and like, yeah, that'd do.
Yeah.
This isn't Industrial Lights and Magic.
Yeah.
This is just like lights. Okay, go Paul.
Kate. Q. Manfred Mann's Earthbound Runner.
Yeah, just that song. Suddenly we just kick into a song. For no reason. It's almost like a sort of MTV music video. We see the vortex, he picks a phone up and then a song kicks in.
Yeah. No, it's K. As in Spanish for K.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever. You know what I mean.
Okay, so we get some music, and learning that they are near Jim's birthplace, Santa Paula, California, David decides to try to find his family. Meanwhile,
can I just pause up there? Right, Philadelphia.
Yeah,
is
nowhere near California.
It's on the East Coast.
Yeah,
California's.
The boat allegedly ended up in Norfolk, Virginia. So these two could have ended up anywhere.
Yeah, no, but they
went
driving.
Through the vortex.
Yeah, but
you don't say how long. It doesn't say how long they've been driving.
But is he?
Yeah, no, but that's the whole point.
No, but isn't
the
he
whole
still
world? They're on a race to save the world, allegedly.
But when he's in the diner, isn't he still in Philadelphia? Because he
No.
says something about.
No.
Actually, he says about the military base.
There's no desert in Philadelphia, is there?
I knew that, but she says something. They're an old base up the road or something, and he goes, "Oh, I'll go and use the phone."
Yeah, it doesn't say he's in. That doesn't mention the fact they're in Philadelphia. I don't think it mentions where they are.
Yeah,
but they're by that big desert place.
Yeah.
The Salt Plains or whatever they are. And there's mountains
so it could be
in the
Salt Lake
background.
City or somewhere like that.
Yeah, because there's no mountains that I'm aware of near Philadelphia either.
No,
it's just urban city decay. But I thought we were supposed to believe this because he said something about the Navy base.
No, he's asking if.
No, he didn't say Navy base.
Is there a
Yeah,
Navy
she
base near
says,
here?
no, but she says something like the old one up the road or something like that. She replies, and he's like, whatever. But obviously it is old now because it's 40 years later.
Yeah, but remember Top Gun's Navy.
True.
Is it? Yeah, it is, isn't it?
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
They're on a boat. Okay, sorry, Paul, carry on.
Anyway,
But
so find out that they're near Santa Paula. They decide to drive to find his family. Meanwhile, Longstreet meets the military police who identify David and Jim from an old photograph.
it's them.
Yeah. Longstreet tells them to bring Jim in. Yeah. Which is, a lot of this film. Okay, so just bring him in for talking. Okay, yeah, we'll slow him down. Bang, bang. Yeah, even at the start, they just see two people and they start shooting them in the helicopter.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go question them. Let's go stop them. Let's go ask them some questions. Bang, bang.
Well, this is the thing with 80s films. The military just did anything.
Yeah.
That's why the 8 team were on the run all the
Yeah.
year. They didn't want to stop and chat to them.
I'm surprised. Where was I?
I don't know.
Okay,
and this is them bringing old man Jim in, isn't it? Because this isn't young Jim. Because because Jim's back. He came back.
Jim
didn't he?
went back,
We learned
yeah.
Jim came back.
Yeah.
Now. So he's disappeared in the hospital and he's come back. So they're going to bring the old man in because he's obviously cottoned on that.
That's
he's
right. He might be going to see
yeah.
him. So as they leave, his assistant arrives to tell him that the vortex will grow and consume the Earth.
Just to keep that fear of peril
Yeah.
coming along. And it's the young version. I can't remember his name now, but he was in Heroes and all that one. I forgot the actor's name now, but he's been in loads of stuff.
No idea what he's on
But
about.
no, the assistant.
The assistant.
Oh,
yeah.
right, okay.
And but
He's the face that you recognise.
Yeah, he's got hair.
Okay.
He's got hair now. That's it.
Anyway, so meanwhile, Jim's wife Pamela, who's now a senior citizen, immediately recognises David from 1943.
I bet she does.
She says that the Eldridge.
You look surprisingly like my son.
She says that the Eldridge has reappeared minutes after disappearing. Jim had also returned, had been chastised and hospitalised after telling the truth about temporarily visiting 1984. David finds that he himself never returned. David sees an elderly Jim outside a window, but Jim doesn't want to speak to him. As David and Alison leave, they see military police approaching in a high-speed chase through Jim's ranch and shoes, and they try to slow him down by shooting at them. The two manage to elude them when pursuing vehicle crashes and burns. It really does explode. From the burning wreck, David salvages documents mentioning Longstreet. Recognizing that Longstreet has been involved with the Philadelphia experiment in 1943, David decides to find him. They then go and hitch a ride on a horse trailer where David and Alison fall in love.
I'm pretty sure he consummated the relationship in the horse trailer.
Yeah, and the horses were looking on. At a roadblock, they then steal a truck and ride into the vortex storm, which is getting worse.
Just, again, impending doom and
Yeah.
danger. I like the bit where she says something like, I didn't think we'd be running around and trying to kill people. And he's like, well, it's what's happening. Or so it's like, it's not they shot first. It's not my fault.
I like the fact that so he goes back to the car to retrieve some documents. There's no one in that car. You can
Well, they're burnt to a cinder,
the-
but the paper documents
Yeah.
survive.
But even if they, at the stretch of the imagination that they could be burnt to a cinder, not in 5 seconds. I mean, it's an empty car on fire, and he just leans in and gets some.
In 1980s logic, that happened. Those people got out and just dusted themselves off and ran away.
No, they've got out and started shooting him again. Anyway.
Yeah. So eventually they arrive at Longstreet's home, where David captures an assistant and forces the man to take them onto the base.
That was the shittest bit of the film.
Yeah.
He
Just come on
he
in.
knocks the door and he's just come in.
Come in. He's not here, but
He's got a model of the town.
Yeah.
Why? That's the same model in the fucking clip,
yeah.
isn't it? That's the same model that we're watching in the vortex.
Yeah. Well, he needed a scale model so that he could work out where best to position the vortex baking machine or whatever. He's gone through many iterations of this experiment where he's put it on every part of that model. Longstreet explains the situation to David and tells him that, according to surviving sailors from the Eldridge, the ship returned to Philadelphia in 1943 after David shut down the generator. Longstreet says that David must go through the vortex to the Eldridge and terminate the experiment, or the vortex will destroy the Earth. He's reluctant to do this. I'm assuming I'm not jumping the gun. You've written this down, but he's reluctant to do this. But Longstreet explains to him, well, technically you already have done it.
And he can sense that that's where he's meant to
Yeah.
go.
Exactly.
Like the vortex is pulling him
Yeah.
in more ways than one.
The universe is saying, come to the vortex.
Go, David, go.
But yeah, it's again. This is one of those. This is that bit in the film now where suddenly we've realised we've got 10 minutes left and we need to wrap it up.
The only thing about it is they're all going on about how dangerous this bloody vortex is, and they're saying it's starting to lift stuff up, like bits of dirt. David's done more damage in this film than that vortex.
It also took a whole town.
I know. He basically crashed into everything. Then everything's on fire. this poor Vortex is probably watching, going, "I'm not that bad."
Yeah. Look at me.
Yeah,
So we
I'm
send
just vortexing.
yeah, minding my own business up here. Well, that little punk.
I want that on a t-shirt. I'm just vortexing. And so we send it. David is actually the villain of the film.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't start.
He's a kidnapper.
Groper.
He's a womanizer. He's
Yeah.
a groper.
He drinks and drives.
Yeah.
And you're right. Maybe the son does look like him. That'd be a nice twist if they turn this into a long-running TV series. But anyway, David finally agrees to do it, and he's outfitted with an electrically insulated suit and is catapulted into the vortex.
Well, I mean that was the only bit I liked in this was the little truck that drives him there, and actually the guard. I think he's probably one of the best actors in it. It's like, come on, sailor, let's go and do this thing. And yeah, so he's sat in the back, and like you kind of think, well, how is he going to get them up? Is the whole thing going to get? It's like, no, it's like an ejector seat. He opens it up, opens the roof, and boof,
Boof.
there
Gone.
David goes. And then he somehow managed to navigate himself through the vortex.
And land on the deck of the Aldridge.
Exactly where he needs to be.
Yeah. Anyway,
And when he does land, he sees some of his fellow crew members badly injured. So he ignores them and hurries to the generator room and just starts smashing up loads of vacuum tubes with a firefighting axe. I think that was his letting out his frustration that his manager let him do this film. Maybe.
Yeah.
The generator shuts down and David looks for Jim. Assured that Jim is fine, David jumps over the side of the ship and disappears. Ooh, because he never came home. Back in 1943 or 42, whenever it was, Longstreet and the others watch the Aldridge reappear in Philadelphia, revealing crew members with severe burns and meltiness, while others have been fused to the ship's hull. In 1984, the missing town reappears as Alison and David are reunited.
and
You
they
get that
really
nice-
go for it.
That nice, desperate drive through. Where is he? Where is he? Is
Yeah.
he here? And
And then
he
they just snog each other's face off.
and then cue the music, probably more Manfred Mann's off band or whatever. And that's it, because films just ended in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't get an epilogue or nothing. They just
No.
end straight away. So, yeah, responses from the film. 1985, Nancy Allen was nominated by the Academy of Science Fiction and Fantasy and Horror Film for Best Actress. Stewart Raffill won the Best Film Award at Fanta Festival with this. A sequel called The Philadelphia Experiment 2, featuring a different cast and crew, came out in 93. And a made-for-television reconception of the original film was released in 2012 on Sci-Fi. Michael Paré appeared in that version, but in a different role. So it's been something that people have gone back to every so often, like the US Aldridge itself. It's popped back up through time, and no doubt.
Nice. I like to see what you did there. That's good.
That last one was 2012, so looks like we might be due a new
We could
one.
be due a new one. Yep.
It may appear again for another vortex soon. Okay, thoughts and opinions. I'll start with Damien this time.
Okay. This is one of those, again, where I've enjoyed talking about it a hell of a lot more than I did enjoy watching it. It has all the look and feel of a made-for-TV movie. I was surprised to find out that it wasn't a TV movie and that it actually did get a theatrical release. The script is poor at best. The pacing is awful. There's so many missed opportunities. It's not even so bad it's good. It is just an 80s TV movie that got lucky. That's my opinion. The effects are awful, even for its, for 1984. When you consider, a year later, Back to the Future, RoboCop was a couple of years later.
We've had Star Wars by now.
Yeah, exactly. So
And Ghostbusters, same year.
Ghostbusters, same
yeah,
year.
so there's no excuse.
And
There's,
for all our joking, the effects are the same effects they pretty much used in Time Tunnel, The Invaders. and they're 1960s TV shows. They are that same
Yeah.
type of effect. We're not just saying that because it looks like it's the same.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty forgiving when it comes to effects, especially
Old
earlier
films,
time
things.
periods. But yeah, it just you can see why John Carpenter was like, I don't really want anything to do with this anymore. But by that point, it was too late.
I think in the end, I did read somewhere that his agreement to do this meant that Escape from New York got made or something like that.
Or was that because he trashed Philadelphia?
Was that the first? Was that the first one? New York or was it LA first?
I think it was LA first.
LA
I don't
then.
know.
Whichever one was
forget.
first.
Yeah.
Like that was basically, you do this, we're going to make that, yeah. And it was like, yes.
Oh,
Fair enough.
weird. And they did go in the film from Philadelphia to Los Angeles.
Yeah,
Hmm.
there you go.
Okay then, Paul.
Yeah, pretty much echo what Damien said. The acting was wooden. Nancy Allen, just whatever she was going through, had the same pitched voice.
And she had very little to do, to be fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There was lots of driving and walking and more driving.
There was the meaningful bit where they slept in different beds at the hotel and just stared at each other.
Yeah, not for too long. And then he just started smoking his cigarette again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually, that stood out to me. A lot of smoking. Don't see enough smoking anymore.
No, you don't.
yeah.
Sorry, Karen.
Yeah, no, it's just really, really bad. I got to about 40 minutes in and really wanted to turn it off. But I carried on watching it just in case something happened because we were doing the podcast. There was no sense of impending doom, pretty much because the vortex is over an empty desert. And
Yeah, but it was getting bigger.
yeah, but it didn't seem
They
to be...
told us that every
Yeah, I
10
know.
minutes.
But nothing was happening. It was just getting bigger.
And a bit windier.
It's picking up some dirt now.
Lightning
Yeah.
bolts.
Yeah.
A few lightning bolts.
But that's what I mean. The most dangerous thing in this was David. We have to register him as a lethal vortex. But yeah, no, nothing.
Sorry, I do think I probably need to temper my comments with the fact that obviously I know I was very, very familiar with the Philadelphia experiment story in itself. So I'm not sure if that's kind of tempered my view of the film. I would have preferred to have seen more of the crew fused to the ship and that sort of stuff than the love story nonsense.
I think it would have been a lot better if they tried to do it a bit more serious without all the bloody hyperspace and vortexing thing, and if it was just more of a, them trying to get home through some other ways or means or looking at the other impacts, yeah. But this whole nonsense. But there was no real sense of impending doom. You didn't really care too much about the characters anyway because they were so wooden or just random script writing.
Like I say, he wasn't a nice person to begin with by the sound
Yeah.
of it.
But yeah, and even the scientist, it was just... They almost tried to make it out like you should hate him because he's repeating the same experiment again, but he just kind of went, yeah, I did, yeah. It's like, can you imagine for Oppenheimer on the creation of the atomic weapon? How did you feel about being responsible for the causing hundreds of thousands of people to get affected by this, thousands of people to die in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and then potentially creating this lethal weapon, as opposed to just, turning around and saying I've become
Destroyer of
Shiva,
worlds.
destroyer of the worlds. It's like, oh no, I did, didn't I? Yeah.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah.
Might come up with something worse next time. Yeah.
So I had a lot of trouble taking Longstreet seriously or old Longstreet seriously because I just really remember him as the headmaster from Porky's. So it was just like anytime it was nice to see him do something serious because he was always like, oh, you kids, or that bit about, have you seen this large penis last seen hanging out in the boys' locker room and all that scene, which is amazing in Porky's. But yeah. Any other comments? Sorry.
No, like Damien said, there's been a lot more TV movies, many of which you watch on whatever it is, the horror channel or the Sky.
Legend.
Legend.
One of them's just started Crazy Like a Fox, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I think
Remember that one?
I think most of them have probably more merit than the Philadelphia Experience 1984, which is a shame because I think the folklore surrounding it could be quite.
I'm intrigued. I
interesting.
might search out the TV, the latest TV movie to see if it's got any extra in there.
Yeah.
I
sci-fi
remember.
version.
I can't remember. I remember not liking it and turning it off.
Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean.
So you
that-
remember not liking that and turning it off, but you made us watch this.
I like theirs.
Okay, go on then. Give us your
I think
your appraisal.
No, I think you're right. Everything you said is right, but I think it's just more. I think for me it was the story, and it's that thing of you can see what it could be, and being cleverer than the script writers. I think when you're a kid, your mind fills in the gaps anyway, and sort of thing. And
Yeah, but that was when you were a kid.
Yeah,
We're talking about watching it now.
yeah, I know, but I'm just saying that was when I watched it, and I watched it a few times. So I think it's got that nostalgia
Right.
sprinkling to begin with, but also, again, I've said this 100 times about 100 things, but it stands true. I think this is a Netflix's new hit series. I can see season 1 ending with Jim suddenly disappearing in a hotel bed as a cliffhanger. I can see Jim's child being thingies later on, David's later on.
I don't know,
I
because
can see
they've
the
already
whole-
tried with the TV stuff. They've already tried with another film.
No, but I mean, them turning this, taking those threads out, exploring the 1980s, exploring it all, and it could be, the story's there. You've got the folklore behind it. There's a story here, but like you say, it needs fleshing out more. It needs more meat on the bones. It needs a few more twists and turns.
Needs a storyline.
Because I know there's a cool bit in the Philadelphia Experiment 2, which isn't too bad. Because it's got the cool bit in it is they go back and it's basically Nazis win the war,
Okay.
and again I'm doing this from memory. Nazis win the war, but the twisty bit at the end is that the guy there is actually the son of the Nazi scientist guy who got the research and did the experiment. And then we're going to watch the Philadelphia Experiment too. And then basically the ending bit is, spoilers everyone, he ends up shooting him, so he dies and doesn't do it. And then obviously he then ceases to exist as well because he's killed his own, or might be his grandfather.
Grandfather
or something
paradox.
Like,
you can't shoot your you can't kill your own grandfather. Yeah.
And then everything kind of goes back to normal and everyone lives happily ever,
Yeah.
in the world's a better place type thing. So it's, I like a timey-wimey. I mean, there's a lot in here that could be done and unpacked.
I like a timey-wimey, but this
I'm not saying how they did it.
isn't,
I'm saying
because
the
basically all it is a guy goes forward in time, seduces Nancy Allen, goes back in time for a couple of seconds, comes back again.
And you've said what you like about lots of other stuff. But coming back to the film,
No, I think I did like it. And,
from a nostalgia perspective.
Yeah, but going now, like you say, you think 1984, what groundbreaking special effects were coming out by this point? I mean, like you say, E.T. as well is another one we just had, Close Encounters, and they are literally relying on 60s TV special effects. As we've
Basically,
said.
what was it? Turning the RGB thing up. Do you remember that
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
TVs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Nancy Allen and whoever played the old man Jim were probably the two best people in it.
Yep.
As actors or actresses or whatever you want to do it.
No, I told you.
Um,
The one that drives him to the
and the
vortex
guy
is
who's
the
forgot
first
about him.
actor.
Oh, and one of the guys is the security guard that was in 24 all the time. He was the president's guard. He popped up as like a guard as well. So there's a few people in it.
Ned Ralston's in it.
Who's Ned Ralston?
Groundhog Day.
Oh, okay.
Is it Ned Ralston? Something like that, isn't it?
The
The
one
guy that he keeps bumping
punching.
into in the street and then he ends up
Punches.
punching him.
Yeah.
Who's
He's-
he in it? Is he the tranny?
No, he's the
The tranny's been in stuff. Tranny's got long hair. I can't remember his name, but I know.
I've no idea who you're talking about. But
The
so
one in the
he's the one that.
cell
Oh right, that one. No. So
gives him a cigarette.
Ned Ralston is the guy that basically is always talking to the old dude. you first spot him and he's got his glasses on, he's got a hood
Oh,
on.
I think that's the one I'm on about, and he was in Heroes and all that.
I don't know. I don't remember him being in Heroes, but then I blanked
In
Heroes out of my
Heroes,
head.
he was Sarah Marshall's dad. I've
Dunno.
forgotten the actress's real name.
Anyway, carry on.
And yeah, so I think it's
Keep
I
talking
think
about the
it's
film.
one of those things that the idea's there, but over time it's lost its strength and appeal.
Okay. Let's go for ratings then.
Yeah, it is him, Ted Dablowski.
Okay.
Paul, yeah, hit your rating.
2.
Damien.
I'm going for 3. The only reason I'm going for 3 is because just at the very end of the film, when the ship reappears, you see some people fused to the
I
to the
gave
boat.
1 point for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I gave it 2.
That was
I bumped
probably
it
the
up to
best
3.
bit of the film. The best
Yeah.
special effects.
This is where they should have
Yeah.
focused the story on.
But oh no, there's like 2 seconds of that, and then lots of describing. There's people burning. There's
Yeah.
people fused to the deck. It's like, yeah, well, let's see a bit more of it then.
Yeah, exactly.
But they probably couldn't afford to pay the actors anymore. That was probably it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 5.
5.
I think it's mid. If it was on, I'd probably watch it again, but I wouldn't necessarily search it out. You know what I mean? It's-
How many times did we hear that?
I blame
if I flicked
ITVX.
over and it was on.
They've taken Sherwood off now. He's desperate just to watch something.
What's that? That gives it a total of 9.
Yeah.
I can't do the thing because I really can't be asked to go back through and listen to all the episodes again to get those figures. I will do it at some
I'll
point.
find
but
it one day.
Yeah.
Okay then. So that was the Philadelphia experiment. Now, Paul, tell everyone the deal that we do on this show when it comes to picking films.
So every week, one of us has to nominate a film or TV series, apparently, or TV episode, which, yeah, that's been done a couple of times, where we're going to put the spotlight on for the following week. We all have the option to veto. Damn, I should have maybe used that last week. Although maybe there should be penalties, though, for veto. We should up the...
I think if you veto, you lose your choice.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
That makes matters worse, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't think the Philadelphia experiment was worth a veto.
I don't know. It depends on what else you're going to put us through. Yeah, so we can veto it if we want to. So this week's choice is for Damien.
It is. Now, I thought long and hard about this.
Is it the Philadelphia experiment 2012?
No, it's not. And basically, I've ended up tossing a coin. If I said to you, Fred Ward, Michael Gross, and Kevin Bacon.
It's not Footloose.
I can't think who Fred Ward is. Who's Fred Ward? I
Fred
know
Ward,
that.
he's like the old guy that's, well, probably isn't old in the film that Damien's.
Is that the one with the dude from Anchorman?
Kevin Bacon. It's not Footloose. He's been in loads of stuff, though. That's the only problem. And it's not a Virgin or a Vodafone advert. You can't look it up, Brett. That's cheating. Tell him,
Remo
Damien.
Williams, that's who he was. That's where I knew the name from.
I'm talking about Tremors.
Okay, of course you are. That's cool, because Shell's been wanting to watch Tremors, because there's been like 6 of them.
If not more.
Yeah.
And a TV series.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to go back to... It's not Mount Pleasant, is it? That's the Mothman. Pleasantville or something?
I thought you were going to say 1990.
1943.
Well, it is 1990, actually. It's available on, what do you call it? Amazon.
Oh, yeah, Amazon Prime.
Might well be a
You
rental.
can rent it from Prime for £2.49.
Bargain.
if
Cool.
you don't
No, I
already
remember
own
watching that on Sky.
Yep.
Sunday night job.
It's
Liked
a
it.
classic.
Yeah.
I thought we needed after this week, we
Yeah.
need
Comedy-
something to
comedy.
lift us.
Proper impending doom with these huge things
Yeah.
swallowing people. Nice. I'm not vetoing that, baby.
Nor am I. I just can't believe you all hated the Philadelphia experiment that much.
Well, you only gave it a 5.
Out of nostalgia, yeah. but
Exactly.
it's-
So
yeah,
you only gave it a 5 out of nostalgia. So Damien gave
And
it
I
a
had
4
no memory of
or
it, so I couldn't
3.
give it any nostalgia points. Right, we're going to wrap this up then.
Oh, yeah, it's me, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so Tremors 1990 is the film next week. Until then, if you want to keep up to date with everything that we're up to, you can check us out on our social medias: Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and all the other ones that are out there. We're on those. Or if you need to check out even more stuff, you can track us down on the mothership, which is...
Cultfaction.com.
If you have any queries or wish to email us, you can contact us on...
cultfactionpodcast@mail.com.
And as for now, we are going to slide up into the vortex and go and check out 1942. I've been your host this evening, Brett Summers, and with me have been...
Well, I've been in 1943 when the film was set that we've said about a million times.
It started in 42.
43.
I've been Paul Hawkins anyway.
Oh, it was 43. I corrected that earlier on, so was it 42 or 43?
I know,
Okay.
I just thought I'd let it slide, so, you know.
Yeah, for the flow.
Yeah.
And anyway, and who have you been, Damien?
I've been Damien Hicks
And
and continue to be.
And we'll see you next time. Stay safe.
Maybe tomorrow I wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on.
Superman.
Cause the world don't move to the beat of just one drum. What might be right for you may not be right for some. A man is born, he's a man, and a lonesome too. They got done but you, they got different strokes to take. Different strokes it takes. Different strokes to rule the world.
Like you just stepped out of a salon.
Brace yourself, Rodney.
I need it.
Move your head.
First time that ever happened, that really freaked me out.
I bet it did.
It's like, it was one of those repeats at about 2 o'clock in the morning. I just sat there and got in. It was like, Brett with your head. I was like, oh, fuck.